So, back from the protest, what went down? Well, unfortunately, not much, right? Fortunately, also not much, right? The protest went, swimmingly, right? There wasn't many people, right? There was about maybe 1,000, 2,000 people who went to Parliament and went to have a look. Um, but there wasn't any sort of, was it commotion or any sort of violence. The organization this time was better, right? I wouldn't say it was perfect, right? We were sort of enclosed at Parliament, almost hermetically sealed at Parliament. But I look at the upside, it's better to have a boring protest than a violent one, right? But essentially there wasn't much that went down. People grouped up, intermingled a little bit, and then went to listen to the guest speakers who were speaking at Parliament, and then everyone just kind of buggered off, right? At the very end showed up the opposition. It was like the anti-fascist crowd and the Aboriginal something or other. I really need to have a look. There was 4 protests going on that day. We were only one. And wow, the amount of people that came from the counter protest really dwarfed our crowd, which is interesting because they were throwing some really violent rhetoric, just like the typical left-wing stuff, right? Like, oh, they're fascist, fascists are not welcome here, that sort of stuff, right? This time, undoubtedly, right, our side was just so peaceful that it was boring, right? I got a couple of interviews and a bit of footage in. I had a lot of difficulty, to be honest, still with my setup. I did get a new gimbal. The new gimbal is doing me fine. It's a DJI one that I got for $90 at JB Hi-Fi. This is actually doing me pretty well. Like, it does some pretty good footage, especially compared to my previous one that I might have burnt out at the March of Australia. So this one definitely held up a lot better. But my new issue, well, actually, there was 2 new issues, because obviously I need to turn this fucking thing off. Anyway, so of course, I have issue with storage, right? I was using this device, right? Once because I recorded everything on my phone, once that filled up, right, I put everything on here, right? Problem with this one, I upload things, some files get corrupted. Oh, yikes, right? Secondly, it is slow. It is really slow. It's slow on the phone and it's slow on the Mac, right? It just takes ages to move files. So when you're up there and then you see like, oh, was it the guest speakers are starting to talk, right? Okay, I'll put the thing in, I'll move some files out, and I kind of end up still shifting files whilst they started talking. So I missed plenty of that. I can probably ask some other people if maybe I can borrow their footage. But to be honest, it was a bit disinteresting. And the guest speakers, they were all right. Some notable figures, but, they didn't say anything like groundbreaking, just sort of the stuff that we already know. But albeit the protest was all right, I wouldn't say it was a disappointment, right? But it certainly wasn't interesting. But again, I would rather a protest that was, boring than violent, right? So here's some footage whilst I actually go edit the proper video for this, which, don't get your hopes up. It's not that terribly interesting, but here's a few clips on what happened today.
Thanks, Craig. I'm going to speak from the heart. I love Australia, but I hate what the people in this house and the house in Canberra are doing to us.
So I think it's appropriate, and apologies for not doing this earlier on, but I think we just have a moment's silence in the memory and efforts of Charles Kirk. Thank you. Move your hats, please.
So with that quick taste, you can sort of get the grasp, but it's, it was all right. It was some very motivated people. It was oh, excuse me. It was some motivated people. It was people that love their country, that they're very displeased what the government were doing, but it wasn't a big crowd. I will admit, right? I'm not the first one to admit this. Everyone knows this. Our side of the aisle, not career protesters, right? Some people are busy at work, either that they've gone off to do something, in the relatively more important sense. But the people who were trying to engage, which the police did an absolutely fantastic job. They did like an absolutely beautiful job on separating the crowds and keeping the peace. They were absolutely fantastic. They did their job immaculately. But you can just hear in some of the footage that the opposition, they're just loud. They're so loud, just banging on the drums, banging on the clickers, just, oh. But yeah, it was all right. I'd love to see more protest happen, right, in a peaceful manner, because this is how you get change, right? This is how you show the government that you're displeased, and people should still try and make an effort to come to these sorts of events, however small they may be. It does show, it makes an appearance, and especially doing what I'm doing, showing actually what happened there, to give proper reporting, what happened, what didn't happen. There was plenty of that didn't happen, and that's wonderful. I could tell you the most interesting thing that happened to me that day was when I went out. I rendezvoused with my own father. We went off somewhere like 3 blocks away from Parliament to have lunch. And the most interesting thing was that the counter protester crowds actually were outside, because somehow they smell me, right? Or I just can't have nice things, right? They were outside and they were just waddling and doing whatever the sort of stuff, waving the Aboriginal flag, the Torres Strait flag, some Union flags, and ironically and hilariously, a Palestinian flag and a LGBTQ flag. Now, you can probably tell me plenty in the comments about the irony of such a thing. But I'll keep you up to date on what happened. I do apologize that I was unable to give you more live updates. I'm not big enough to actually do any form of lives, like YouTube lives. But in future, I'll try to get better drives, and I also need to work out on how to save battery. That was my second issue that I seem to completely have forgotten to mention. My second issue was power. My phone is still plugged in, because really, taking video gobbles so much power. It's impressive. I still have a ways to go, so any sort of support I'd appreciate. Just like, subscribe, hit notification. You'll get updates from me. Somebody who doesn't really make cuts, right? Sure, I'll make cuts to get just some B-roll, right? But if you come to me with interviews, or I talk to you in the camera, I do not make cuts, right? You get the real me. So any form of support I'm happy to get, and I'll catch you guys later. I'll make some more videos, so stay tuned. Again, like, subscribe, put notifications on. There's some more updates, not groundbreaking stuff, but hopefully when there's more updates, not just when it comes to protests, but anything that happens around Melbourne, I'll try to be on point and actually be there, right? And cover what's going on. We can't rely on the mainstream media to do our reporting for us because they're just so disingenuous. So I'm not saying that I am such a great, fantastic person, even though I am. But I'll try my very best to give real reporting. So I'll see you guys later. Over and out.